Good morning. It's fresh, it's well, it's 9:30 in the morning. Can you believe it? They got us up this early, PL. But you know what? It's worth it because we're discussing all matters English Greyhound Derby. It's been a wonderful competition thus far. We'll get to you in a moment, PL, but we have to say to the punters at home, the sign-up offer still stands. Insights 30, that's the bonus code, and it's £30 welcome offer. You bet £30 and you get it back as a free bet if it happens to lose. Hopefully it doesn't lose and you kick off with a great winner on Matchbook Betting Exchange. PL, always a pleasure. How's things?
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, really enjoying the derby, as I guess you are as well, Ian. It's been a fantastic competition. We predicted it right at the start of the comp, and it's lived up to expectations. So it's onwards and upwards.
It certainly has lived up to expectations. There's been fantastic displays throughout, needless to say. But one dog in particular has taken a real shine to Toaster, and as a result, he's a pretty warm favourite. That is Balnabola Ed, and people are probably sick of us sort of throwing rose petals at his feet or his paws, shall we say, over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Paul, it seems every second day you send me a picture of you going down to visit him. All's well in the Balnabola Ed camp. He's a deserving favourite.
Yeah, he is. He just seems to be a young greyhound that's progressing nicely, and even the physicality of him as well. Ian, he just seems to be going the right way. I mean, we spotted him. Obviously, the world spotted him really when we saw him break the track record as a youngster at Tralee. But he just seems to have gone forward, and he's turned out to actually really have most importantly taken to Toaster, Ian.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I spotted him bit before that in the Juvenile Classic. We won't go into that now for a moment, PL. He's 3.3 in the blue. You can forget about the red 8. That's someone really just chancing their arm. That, of course, will tighten up as the weekend draws close. Lataro, the track record holder, is second in at 8.2. Sing along Sally Kildare, Ballymacfairwan and Romeo Magico. There's a distinct lack of UK runners there. Lataro, the sole UK representative at the moment, PL, but he's a fairly bullet hard sort of challenger. He ran very well in defeat last time out. The key has been the switch to the outside. He's not quite had his pink start, but there's always chance of a pink start going forward, PL.
Yeah, I mean that was the worry, is that it seems as though there wasn't a lot of quality sort of wide running greyhounds, and unfortunately we lost Thorn Falcon, and it just seems that a lot of the greyhounds on the wide outside haven't quite been starting. Of course, now Lataro finds himself with probably wider draws than he needs. But the fact that he's got dogs that are moving inside him is probably going to help, because, as we said before, he's probably better off in 6 than he is in 1. But I think the key to it, Ian, is he hasn't really started like he did in the first round.
Yeah, he hasn't, and that is the key. Just noticing, there's still 8 seeded greyhounds. Obviously there's only the 2 wide seeds, so there is a chance if he gets through this week and a couple more seeded runners get through. There's always the chance he get 3, 4 in the final. Now it's very slim that he'd get 3, but there's certainly a chance he could get 4, even 5 in the final. That would certainly suit. So, I wouldn't completely rule out anybody backing him at sort of around the 8.2 up to about 9 mark is what will probably be available towards the weekend. Looking down through the rest of them there, Paul, of the top 7 there, Sing Along Sally, or top 6, Kildare, Ballymacfairwan and Romeo Magico. They're all fairly enough priced, given the fact that if any of the 4 get a start on Saturday, they should go through. Kildare is well housed in the fence. Sing Along Sally has no early speed in her inside. Ballymacfairwan's well housed in the fence if he can get a start. And Romeo Magico is in the bingo box in the middle if he can get a start, which he hasn't done in the Derby. Well, we still really haven't seen the best of him. And then you have another one going down a little bit further, Cape Cloud, and he certainly is likely to get his start. He's in the same heat as Kildare, but they're all the market's probably found them well. They're probably about where they should be. Are you with me, PL?
I just lost you there a little bit. Yeah.
No, sorry.
Yeah. The market's
just saying yeah, go ahead. We're just having 1 or 2 little issues with PL.
Those dogs that you've just mentioned, Ian, they are quality greyhounds.
Yeah, they are quality greyhounds.
They just seem like they are quality greyhounds. Yeah, I just think they've got every chance of qualifying to a final. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Ballymacfairwan did it last year, and he's got every chance of doing it this year.
Of the 5 behind the big 2, is there one of them that stands out as a bit of value?
I think I'd have to go with Sing Along Sally, because I think she's quality, as you say. She got to, the yeah. If there was any value, it'd probably be in her.
Sing along, Sally. Yeah, you broke up again a bit there, PL. Sorry to say we're losing you a little bit here and there. We'll move down through the market. Just take a quick look. We are down to the final 24, so it's probably no harm to take a look through them. Signed at Denver, Dealish, Frankie, two strong runners, both in flying form. Hello, Hammond, really powerful performer. He's sort of suffered for a good start in recent outings, finding traffic and then finishing like a train. Bobsleigh Dream is very well housed on the fence. I think that 34 is plenty big enough, Paul. If she traps on terms, she'll be in the next round. Sign at Ace is running well. 30 seems fairly generous. Mickey's Bar is a big price in his heat. Kilkenny Santi want to be doing things right. So too Global Vision. Fahan Rebel is running so well. Price's Jet, I think, is perhaps a little bit of value. He's a great draw out in 6. Aussie Captain will need to be doing things right in the red hot contest. Darren Asafa Boss, I think he could be a worry for Lataro. Signet Goofy or Sign It Goofy is flying to the corner. He's there at 32. He should be a bit higher in the list. He's unbeaten in the competition, flying to the corner. Ballymac Belvote, Coppice Fox, and Make Noise. 3 strongish runners completing the field. PL, if I gave you the option now, is there anything you would like to add to your list of anti-post selections, or are you happy with your lot?
I've probably got too many as it is now. But yeah, there are some bigger price ones still there, you know, such as Hello Hammond and Kilkenny Santi, and they've kind of got a bit of pace about them and stay well. So yeah, no, I'm quite happy with the book. Actually, I've done reasonably well. I think Scarty Yank was the only dog that I lost really. And other than that, you know, really happy with Bannable Red as well at the top of the pile there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've both lost a couple, but at the bigger price one. Scarty Yank is perhaps the only one that we've really lost. You know, that would have been carrying money for us. Bobsleigh Dream is one I would certainly consider adding to the list. Obviously, Pat Buckley's in flying form. She's a kennel companion to the favourite, but she is very well drawn in Trap 1. And again, just to have a little nibble on Price's Jet at a big price, perhaps those would be the ways I'd look at it. Now we'll look at the quarterfinals, PL. We've got 4 intriguing quarterfinals, as you'd expect at this stage in the Derby. The opening heat sees Kildare racing from Trap 1. He's around a 5-2 mark, sort of, you know, 3.5. He'll be perhaps a bit bigger. I'd say you'll get close enough to 4 on the evening. Sign at Ace and Cape Cloud in the middle. They'll be 4.5-ish. And then on the bottom, you have Price's Jet, or Global Vision and 2, I missed. Sorry. He's currently around 6. He'll be probably a bit bigger on the night. And it's Price's Jet on the outside is currently 8. I just wouldn't be surprised if he came in for a bit of a nibble. Cobbice Fox completes the lineup. What's your thinking on this heat, Paul? It very much depends on the first 5 strides, doesn't it?
I think you're right. This was a really difficult race for me to weigh up, and obviously I did the Derby lanes early in the week, and I think the and probably Sign at Ace for that matter, because I think if they break in their best fashion, the pair of them, they could easily collide. They could easily come together. They could easily rub shoulders, and that isn't, you know, Cape Cloud's capable of doing the 406, but then Sign at Ace did the 409. He's done a 406. They're both early birds in the initial stages, and Cape Cloud will be moving inwards. You know, actually, he was from 4 last week in, and I thought he would go straight into lane 1. And he just didn't quite go right the way over. He went lane 1.5 maybe, but Sign at Ace is probably going to hold his ground to just take a step a little bit inside or a line inside. I didn't think Global Vision quite had the pace to go with that pair, and I thought Kildare was the one that, if he gets a reasonable break from the inside, he could fly his way up on the inner, and if they are rubbing shoulders down the middle to rails, then he could get that kind of early dash, which he probably needs to lead to win. As we saw, he got trapped 3 wide last week from 4. I thought it suited him. I think you probably agreed as well. But he got drawn on the outside of Kilkenny Santi, who was quite a big dog, and he just drove him mad down the back straight, and he didn't quite come home to his best. And I'm also, and I don't know what you think about this, Peter Cronin used to stay with Paul Foster, and he's now travelling backwards and forwards, and I don't know whether it doesn't suit this young dog, you know.
Yeah,
don't know.
It's an issue. I agree with you last week. He was just pestered. He just could never really find himself in a bit of space to get moving, to get motoring. And, you know, it was no surprise after the troubled sort of ride that he suffered that he didn't really find an awful lot up the home straight. I was probably satisfied that he went back to 1. Because at this stage in the Derby, if you're not going to get your pink start from 3 or 4, you might as well make the same start from the inside and chance
Correct.
your arm that you'll slip around on the inside. As you say, Sign
Yeah.
at Ace and Cape Cloud, strong chance that they'll come together, rub shoulders. It is worth pointing out that Sign at Ace has he's 7 kilos on Cape Cloud, so like there is a bit of a difference there. He's probably able to take that little bit of a bump, but Cape Cloud, as you say, is probably just a fraction better a trapper. Sign of Ace may have more early speed, but Cape Cloud is that trapping speed. And if he does cut across, all of a sudden, Room is getting very much at a premium. Does Coppice Fox at a 16 or a Price's Jet at a 7, do they interest you? Like, I know I said Price's Jet, but if you look back at the second last night, Price's Jet and Coppice Fox had a great old ding dong, and Coppice Fox came through the land of spoils. Is there a chance that one of those two runs a big race at a decent price?
I think that could easily be a scenario, as you say, if Cape Cloud does bang and clear Sign It Ace straight away, then you're right, he's got to carve up the whole inside, and he's going to then be sitting on the bend, and they've got to get round him. I mean, that is a scenario. In which case, you're all of a sudden you're looking for Coppice Fox and Price's Jet. Now, I put up Coppice Fox in the 5 dog affair in the last heat last week, but he didn't really break like he has been doing in the first 2 rounds. So he didn't really then give himself that chance of then staying on, and he sort of scrambled home, didn't he, in third spot. Whereas when Coppice Fox and Price's Jet met in the second round, there was a bit of a tussle between them. And again, I don't know what you think. Price's Jet, I thought, was a very, very strong dog. He hasn't really becoming home as hard as I thought he's capable of it maybe a year ago.
Yeah, like there is a chance he's just getting cuter in his old age. Do you know what I mean? But there's no question. I still wouldn't suggest that the engine isn't there. And there's been a history here in Ireland where you'd rule out Paul Hennessy's runners on the strength of one run, and then
Yeah.
bang, the next week they come out and go 6 lengths faster. And I'm still waiting for Price's Jet to produce the big run. I think the engine's still there, but like that, he's going to need to be trapping, because I think he'll need to master Coppice Fox pretty early. Now, it is worth pointing out, you said that Coppice Fox missed the kick last week, and probably is, well, one of his worst runs of the Derby. He has only had the 10 starts, so like a Derby campaign takes a lot out of dogs like that. He's only a June 20. He's still maturing. Just keep an eye on that. Perhaps that's why he's the double figure price, where Price's Jet, the old head, is that bit shorter. If we had to pick one from this heat, PL, are you going with the Kildare? You're going to take a chance with one of the middle runners with the early speed, or are you going to go for something at a bigger price?
I've gone with Kildare, but with no great confidence, I have to say. I have had a little tiny bet on him, and it worries me that you said he's going to go out to about 4 dead on the exchange, because maybe I've got it wrong. But I think a lot of people noted that he was probably a little bit tired last week. But I think the ground was very, very heavy. Yeah, there you are. Gary Smith says Kildare looked a tired dog. A lot of people have said that, but also, it was heavy. Has it taken it out of him? Has he had the week to recover? Is Peter Cronin now happy with him? We're not really party to that, but we know he's a quality dog. He was matching strides with Swords Rex and Bowler Red. That's top quality form, and it's better than Coppice Fox form. Put it that way.
Yeah, I would imagine Peter Cronin has given him every chance this week to get that sort of freshener up. Do very little with the dog. Like, I don't think he's had 300-400 yard gallops or anything like it. I'd say the dog has been freshened up, plenty on the lead, and just happy in himself. He's plenty fit enough at this stage, as you say. He just needs a bit of a freshener. On to the second heat. I think Kildare is probably the most appealing one for me. But again, I'm just going to have a little nibble on the bottom two if they go fancy prices.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah,
with a view that the middle is going to get crowded, and perhaps it might carry on into the inside. There's a chance the inside of the track could be pretty congested in this contest. So I'll have a little nibble on the outside duo. Coppice Fox maybe at a 20 or something like that, and Price's Jet around an 8. It won't take much. It's just an interest. On to the second heat, where Ballymac races from 1. Ballabula Ed is out in 5. They're the big 2 in the market. Ballabula Ed obviously is the big one in the market, currently around sort of 1.6, 1.65. Could you see this fella going below 1.5 in the night? I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Dealish Frankie wants in. Hello Hammond doesn't have the early speed. Aussie Captain had no answer to Ballabula Ed last week. Ballymacfairwan, while very talented and running very well, he's not what you'd call a natural starter. And Fahan Rebel shouldn't worry him in the early yards. It just all points to Ballabula Ed doing exactly what he's done the previous 3 rounds, coming out reasonably well. He hasn't yet flown from boxes. Perhaps he might fly from boxes. I'd sooner he held it for the final. But if he does come away even a length behind anything in this race, he goes round in front.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And again, I think he's got a perfectly acceptable draw. You know, he seems to be suited with that orange jacket against his white and black body, and he seems to break moderately. I think he broke better last week, and he flew to the turn against quality opposition. I do like Ballymacfairwan as a greyhound, and the fact that Liam Dowling has got him to the final last year, I think, is another plus. It's a positive. I've just got my little nagging worry is that he's got a little bit of company in the shape of Aussie Captain, who seems to be breaking really well. In the first round, or leading into the Derby, I thought his prep trial was a bit moderate, but Patrick seems to have just got him to be peaking at the right time. I think Aussie Captain is one of those dogs that would be really, the collection would be really happy to get to a Derby final. Whether he can actually win a final is a different matter, but he's got a lot of quality about him.
Dare I say there's a touch of the Clara lines about him?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, Patrick seems to get these dogs to run above their form, if you like. He seems to be about a 29.40 dog, and that's him. And you probably need to do a 29.10 or 20 to win a Derby. And you know that Ballynabula Red is hovering around a 29 dead every single week. So he's kind of up against it. But he's just one of those quality greyhounds that, because his trapping ability and because his little bit of early and the line he takes, he might just give Ballymacfairwan something to think about in the early stages.
If you're looking at it from an Aussie Captain point of view, it's simple. If he doesn't lead Ballymacfairwan, he doesn't qualify, because there is no way he's holding a Hello Hammond, a Dealish Frankie, or a Fawn Rebel if he's sitting in third off the second bend. He's going to find himself in problems. Ballymacfairwan is the 2 418s. Aussie Captain is a 415, 414, 424. If there's only a half length in it on the winning line, Ballymacfairwan's probably going to slip around on the inside on the corner. Is that the way we see it?
That's probably going to be the case. Yeah. I really like him as a dog, as I say. So, and he's good. He's just got that little bit of quality about him, and I think you're right. If they break reasonably level, he should be all right, shouldn't he? He should claim the rails, and that should be good enough.
Let's say it does come down to a situation where Ballabula Ed enters the back straight with Ballymacfairwan in second. Okay, there is an asterisk there. He has to get around Aussie Captain or inside Aussie Captain. It's a fairly interesting contest for third spot then. Obviously, Aussie Captain's going to be trying to hold them. Hello Hammond, Dealish Frankie, Fawn Rebel. 3 immensely powerful greyhounds. Dealish Frankie, I thought he was more about early speed prior to this Derby, but he's looked really strong through this Derby. He's going to need to be doing things right, though. Hello Hammond and Fawn Rebel are 2 of the very fastest from the second bend home. It's going to get interesting in behind.
If Dealish Frankie could somehow clear Hello Hammond, then he'd put himself in with a chance of qualifying. I mean, he's going to go across. Probably got him moving across into lane 3, but that's where Hello Hammond's going to be, because I would have thought Hammond would be perfectly housed in 3. Would you say?
Yeah, I would have said that if you're going to paint the white jacket on his back, that's what you do.
Yeah, it looks a good draw from him. Although actually, that in that first round when Spinosaurus beat him, he kind of beat himself, Hello Hammond. He seemed to run off and go all over the place. And I think maybe now he's learning how to run toes to that little bit better. But I've been impressed with the way he's been finishing his racing. But of course, it's whether he gets that. He just needs that clear run early, Ian, doesn't he? That's the thing, Hello Hammond. Dealish Frankie, as I say, he's been running really well. Fawn Rebel could find himself a big last at the first bend, and then he might be in a world of pain if he's behind both Hello Hammond and Dealish Frankie. Because you'd imagine Ballynabula Red by that time will be away and gone. Ballymacfairwan will be up on the inside, and you can't say it's a foregone conclusion, but I think the makeup of the race for Ballynabula Red is a very, very good one.
Yeah, I think you know obviously you'd have handpicked slower greyhounds. They're very fast greyhounds in opposition, but you'd have handpicked the style of greyhounds that he's taking on here.
Correct.
The
Yeah.
dogs that he is facing in the early yards are dogs that he can certainly outpace into the opening corner. Is there any bet in the race, or is it a case of just a watching brief and hold on tight to those anti-post dockets?
Well, if he went kind of 1.7 plus, I think I'll be actually betting Ballonable Red.
I tell you what, if he
And he
goes
did
up
that.
by,
No, he did that last week though. And I didn't think
yeah.
he did last week. I actually missed. It went really late, and I missed. Um, but yeah, if he did, then I'd play.
Well, you have to set up the troops now. It's the fastest finger first job. If someone goes 1.7, they're going to get their nose chopped off, right? Onto the third heat. I tend to agree with you. It's pretty much a watching brief for me, I must say. I think Balnabula Ed will come home in splendid isolation once again. Onto the third heat, and this is another absolutely intriguing affair. PL, I didn't manage to catch the Derby lanes just yet, but I dare say you suggested something about Darren Asafa Boss taking a step right at boxes last week is a slight concern to Lataro.
Yeah, but yeah, probably it could be, but I don't think Darren Asafa Boss really breaks that well, Ian. Whereas, I mean, I know Lataro missed it last week, but you know he's capable of much better than that. And that's the thing. It's Lataro's inconsistency of box rise, which could catch him out if Darren Asafa Boss does just step to the right. But he will. Seamus's dog will then go in half a notch on the way to the turn. So he's still got the room. But you're right. If he misses it and fluffs his lines, he is going to be edging him himself, Lataro's. So if there is a clash at box rise, then that could be a problem for Lataro. I think here, Sign It Denver is a bit of a worry for Romeo Majiko because Sign It Denver seems to be breaking well. And I think the 3's a better boxer than the 1s and the 2s that he's got in the previous couple of rounds. But I do think the drawn dog here is Bobsleigh Dream.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Pat Buckley did say she had a small problem last week. Any update on that?
Yeah, she was just a little bit tired, really, because of the heavy ground. But he seems to be very, very happy with her, and going into this quarterfinal with a lot of confidence. Yeah,
she has a good draw. If she traps on terms, she's going to be banged there on the fence, and she's a massive player. In the middle, Sign It Denver and Romeo Magico. Sign It Denver has been performing so well. He was narrowly denied last week. It's hard to believe he was third when you look at that photo finish. It was so desperately tight. Made virtually every yard. Collared on the line by a 20-1 chance in Savannah Bow, Lataro and himself. Only a short head between them. He's going to go up well in the middle. He's going to be prominent. You'd imagine. Romeo Magico, he hasn't had his start yet in the Derby. He got his chance. He was in 3 last week. It didn't happen for him early. Got crowded. He's running very strong. But there's no question he's going to have to find that landing gear. And he's going to have to find it pretty sharpish because this is one of those heats where, just a small error and you're gone. I just think that he could end up being the value. I think if there's going to be a drifter in the night, I think it's going to be him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went to a pretty crazy price, given the fact that probably be cash for 1, 3 and 6.
Yeah, you could be right. He is a quality dog. I backed him in the second round at a huge price, and we kind of half said it on here that he had a good makeup in track 1 in the second round. I don't think this draw is as good for him because I do expect when the traps open 3 to be banging out, and 3 Sign It Denver is a big runner here. There's no dangers. As you say, he's the magical bow dog. Forest Natalie, really well-bred greyhound. Kevin's got him running at the top of his game. He's already won the laurels at Perry Bar when he beat Lataro. They had that buckle last week. I just fancy that Lataro can break better, but if he doesn't, then that paves the way for Sign It Denver to be trying to hold Bobsleigh Dream to the turn. I thought Make Noise had it all to do, and although he's been running well and qualifying in places, rather than winning his races, he's running off a little bit between the first and second turn. But Romeo Majiko, I just feel that if he gets his best break, Ian, he's still got a big thorn in his side with the lump Sign It Denver 37 kilos inside him.
Yeah, the 2 lumps, 2 sons of Magical Bale, and they're both 37.1 kilos last time out. They are quite similar in their movement, their style. Obviously, Sign It Denver's looked a little bit sharper in recent weeks, but again, I'm just not ruling out Romeo Magico. But at the same time, there's 4 big names here. Bobsleigh Dream, Sign It Denver, Romeo Magico, and Lataro. That's with all due respect to Make Noise, who hasn't quite looked the same greyhound as he looked early in his career, and Darren Asafa Boss, who's running so well, but is up against it. So, like, the two Seamus Cahill runners, I don't want to put a pen through them, but in terms of the big four and the betting, one of them's certainly going to go out. Which is the most likely?
I think it's probably going to be Magico, or Romeo Magico. I like him as a greyhound, and I don't like to say, oh, he's going to go out, because the trap's still left to open. And say Lataro, I thought was kind of big at 2-1 or 3.0 earlier in the week. And it's like we're discussing now. There's going to be different camps. So because of the exchange factor, there's going to be people with different opinions and want to take on these dogs. As you're right, you quite rightly say, there's 4 dogs that could easily win this race. And it's what happens at Leeds.
It's been notable that the fixed priced firms have suggested there has been money for Bobsleigh Dream early in the week. So she's currently around 5.0. She might be one that comes in for a nibble. I think the likely drifters are Romeo Magico, and I dare say Lataro could be a drifter. Just in a race of such a competitive nature, I think 3.0 is pretty sharp, pretty short. I think I'll be playing late, because if Romeo Magico went to something like a 6 or a 6.2 or a 6.4, I think I'd have a nibble. Other than that, I think I'm more than happy to watch on, unless they don't go near Bobsleigh Dream and she takes a drift as well. But in terms of a contest, I think it's wide open. And what's your angle?
Well, I've played 1 and 6, and the more now I listen to the likes of you with saying that Darren Sephiboss takes that step to right. I was just of the opinion that Lataro would break better. I just can't have him breaking as slow as he has been. So they were the two that I backed earlier in the week at reasonable prices. But you're right. I wouldn't be surprised if 3 went wallop and cleared them all, and now you're in a world of pain trying to back run Sign It Denver. Because last week was that kind of controversy a little bit, where the ground was heavy, and Sign It Denver got into a bit of a speed battle early with Infield Trojan, and they kind of cut each other's throats in a way because they were trying so hard. And then obviously Lataro, he came onto the scene late. I just fancy Lataro can break better, and he'll get to Sign It Denver earlier than he did last week.
Well, listen, it's the very nature of punting greyhounds. You're not punting to miss the kick and to show great pace to get there. You're punting to do what they can do, hit the lids, and go on about it. And if that's the way you're looking at it, Lataro's perfectly fair at 2-1, because there's no question, off a level start, he's certainly the fastest dog in the race, isn't he?
Yeah. Because the clock in the first round tells you that. So yeah, you're right, Ian. When you're punting, you're punting off a level breaks. He did the 4:07. He actually did a 4:18 in a trial, and now all of a sudden he's doing 4:20 somethings. 29 it was last week. It was an awful break last week, and he can break better than that.
Oh, of course he can. Certainly can. He did a 4:07 in the first round. Hard to forget that one. He absolutely came through the bars. On to the last of the 4 heats. And again, it's no less an intriguing affair, although we have a pretty warm favourite here. Another one for Pat Buckley, Sing Along Sally. She's a true superstar. If you were to pick 3 greyhounds to go on her inside, maybe with the exception of Kilkenny Santee, you would be picking the likes of Savannah Bow and Ballymac Belvolt. Ballymac Belvolt will edge in from trap 3. Savannah Bow just doesn't have the early speed. Kilkenny Santee, if Sing Along Sally hits the lids like she did last week, he's going to struggle to eat her. Then on the outside, you sign a Goofy, who will go up fast. He's unbeaten in the competition, and deservedly so. The last couple of nights, he just found himself getting loose, and a little bit of traffic in behind certainly aided his cause. I thought Romeo Magico ran a big race behind him last week. Mickey's Barrett, I think he's a greyhound that just knows where the line is, and I think he has a way about him of getting up there, getting involved. It'll be interesting to see how close he can turn on this occasion. I think Sing Along Sally is a deserving favourite, no question. If she does things right, she clears the inside tray, and I think she'll be too strong for Sign It Goofy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. At the make of the race, where if you said what trap would you, when you wouldn't say 4, I was surprised. In the first round, she went really well behind Park Blake, came second to him from 4. In the second round, she beat Ballymac Fair 1 from 4. And I've just been really impressed with her, because in the old days she'd just dive straight for the rails, but now she's got adding to her quality, brain power as well as physicality and speed, and I think that's where she is the complete package as a young lady. Or she's July 19. She's of the female protagonist, I think she was always one that caught my eye as being one to get to the final. I think you're right. The Savannah Bow, Ballymet Belleville, I think she'll clear those greyhounds quite comfortably. It's just Kilkenny Santi's probably got a little bit more early, but I think Sally's got more trapping ability than Santi, so therefore she should be able then to just negotiate that path. I showed a VT of her in Derby Lanes from track 4, and she just edged over to lane 2, and then she really chopped across the bend. She's really, really brave. She goes into that turn with eyes wide open, and she's just such a quality performer. There's a lot to like about her. She has got something to think about, but that's on her outside, Ian. And I think Sign It Goofy will leave a bit of a passage for her, even if she doesn't lead him. I mean, John's got Sign It Goofy running really well. I spoke to him before the Derby started, and he was convinced that the dog would stay. He stayed well enough to hold Romeo Majiko on that ground that wouldn't have suited him last Saturday evening. And so you have to say he is a worthy rival. And Mickey's Barrett, I backed him last week. He came second. He didn't quite do what I thought he would do. But as you say, he's probably got a little bit of his own mind. But of course, he's got pace as well. So it's gonna be interesting. I think most people and the bookmakers in that respect all think that the traps will open and 4 and 5 will come out, and it will be who gets to the bend first. If Sally turns close to Goofy, she could still beat him.
Yeah, we saw her outpacing her, Sign It Goofy's half brother, reigning dog of the year, Sign It Ace, down to the 3rd bend last week. It could be a similar enough scenario. What I took out of last week's run was she never missed a beat around those first 2 bends. Sign It Denver's there. He's a big 30, or Sign It Ace, should I say? He's 35 kilos as opposed to her. What is she? 28 kilos. He's keeping a trap 2 line all the way around those opening 2 bends, and she stayed absolutely tight to the fence. Never missed a stride. It allowed her carry her momentum into the back straight, and once getting clear run into that 3rd bend, that's where she did her damage, and she really stayed on strongly. Sign It Goofy's not going to run as tight to the fence as Sign It Ace. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, he'll leave a gap for her. He'll definitely leave a gap. He won't be tight. He'll come across, but he won't be tight on the rails. And as you say, she is brave, and she will take the line that she needs to take. She's just got that some kind of that sixth sense, that intelligence in a greyhound, and that is when you've got ability and you've got a brain as well. That is a really good attribute to have.
Yeah. Anything else to mention in the race? The Can Savannah Bow produce another run like last week, and can Bellyback Belvolt negotiate a passage around the opening 2 bends? Mickey's Barrett, like, what qualifies? What way do you see this race going, Paul?
I actually lead Savannah Bow and Ballymat Belvolt, so I then fancy they might struggle to back run him, because I think he's got all round quality. So if he does just get Sign It Goofy and Sing Along Sally, he'd have a massive chance to qualify. Now,
you're breaking up there. That's Kilkenny Santi you're suggesting.
Yes, sorry,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is, if Sally bangs out and holds Sign It Goofy straight away, then he might then struggle.
Yeah, if
because there's so many strong dogs in the race.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah, there's a lot of angles to look at these things. Obviously, people are holding on to anti-post selections as well, and while we're all wondering and we're all trying to back winners, there's as many people watching the race for 3rd as there is watching the winning line. I know I'm guilty of it every now and again, when you're looking back going, oh, listen, I don't want to see the dog in front. I couldn't care less about that dog. I want to see if Romeo Magico gets up for 3rd, shall we say, or, like in that sort of instance. We got to that stage, PL. We want to know your best bets. We have only 4 heats. Obviously, it's an incredible night's racing, be it with the sprint and the plate as well. But for the moment, we'll just focus on the quarterfinals of the Star Sports TRC English Greyhound Derby. What are your best bets, PL?
I've already backed Sing Along Sally. I've backed Bobsleigh Dream and Lataro. And you're right, Kildare is a token selection in a way. I bet a very small bet on him. And if, as I say, if Ballinabuller Ed known as Christie to his friends. If he goes 1.7, I will back him and cheer him as well.
Okay. Well, if he goes 2, I'll definitely back him. All right.
That's fair enough.
Listen. I find it hard to disagree with you in most of those scenarios. I think the greyhounds you mentioned all have outstanding claims. Just the one I'd mention again, Price's Jet. I know I'm beating the same drum as I beat last week. Just I think he's a little bit overpriced at around 8.0. I think he's worth a little nibble, but I do believe that Sing Along Sally probably will win. I think if she clears the inside trio, which she should, I think she'll be too strong for Sign It Goofy. And Romeo Magico, he's one where I'll say if he goes a silly price, if he goes, bigger than your 4-1, 9-2. Let's say if he goes a 5.6 for 5.86, perhaps even. And I think he could be a drifter tonight. I think he's worth a nibble. I wouldn't go steaming in, but it's all very tight at this stage, PL. There's 24 greyhounds trying to battle it in for these final 12 places. It's a hell of a competition.
It is, and probably out of those dogs that you've mentioned there, what you failed to mention was Price of Jet. He might actually be a good place bet rather than just a win bet, if you get what I mean.
No, absolutely. And the place market is certainly available, and it's a thriving market during the likes of this.
Yeah, definitely. So that is something always to be wary of in scenarios in races, strong running types of dogs. You don't necessarily have to bet the short price favourite. You can get money out of a decent price in the place market.
Yeah, it's amazing. You see dogs like Savannah Bow or a Price's Jet or name one other. Like a Hello Hammond or something like that. Well, Hello Hammond might be a 12 or a 14 on the on the exchange win market. They often price the place market on the strength of the win price, but it's a completely different race. You'd imagine the likes of a Low Hammond is probably only a 3.6 to be placed rather than a, whatever he should be, a 4 or 4.6. He should be a bit shorter for it. So keep an eye out for the place market. That's a good line there from PL. That's it, PL. We have just 2 heats to look back on next week. 2 heats to preview, should I say. It's getting interesting, but Ballabula Ed remains your choice for outright glory.
Yeah, I still sweeten him and just had the privilege to go and see him as well. And the physicality of him he's just getting better and better, which is a scary thought because he does look a kind of couple of 3 lengths better than the rest of the pack anyway. So he's still got to do it right in the night, but he's definitely got that quality and that kind of X factor, if you like, that keeps us interested in this brilliant greyhound game.
It's funny. That's the exact same things people say about me when they meet me at the dogs. You know that he has that physicality. He's 3 lengths better. There's a bit of X factor.
It's funny enough they don't say that about me.
Oh, I'm sure they do, PL. I'm sure they do. Listen, that's it. We have 4 wonderful heats of the Derby to look forward to at the weekend. The very best of luck to all involved. Best of luck to all the punters in getting involved, be it in the win market, place market, or anti-post market. Ballabula Ed is the hot favourite. He is the one to beat. Reminder: get involved on the Matchbook Betting Exchange. That Insights 30 bonus code. If you are signing up, a free £30 bet back as a free bet if your first bet is a loser. Insights 30 is the bonus code once again. But that's it from us this morning. My thanks again to Paul Lawrence, the master tacticianer, master punter, and hopefully a profitable punter this weekend. That's it for myself also. Good luck and God bless.